You already know what it feels like to be in a room full of people and still feel completely alone. You know what it's like to have conversations that go nowhere, friendships that slowly fade without explanation, and relationships that start with so much promise but somehow end up feeling hollow. That feeling is not in your head, it is real. And the worst part is that most people never figure out why it keeps happening to them. Here's what nobody tells you. The reason your relationships are not working has nothing to do with luck, and it has nothing to do with you being unlovable. It comes down to a specific set of skills that most people were simply never taught, and once you understand them, everything changes. The way people respond to you changes, the depth of your connections changes, the way you feel about yourself changes. We have some related programs linked down in the video description that go far deeper into this than we can cover here. If you are serious about transforming your relationships and you have been carrying this weight for too long already, take a look before this content gets updated or pulled down. What you will find there has already changed the lives of thousands of people who felt exactly where you are standing right now. But if you think you can keep doing what you have been doing and get different results, feel free to scroll past it. Now let us get into the real work. Think about the last time you really felt seen by someone. Not just heard, actually seen. Where someone looked at you and understood exactly what you meant without you having to explain yourself 100 different ways. Can you even remember the last time that happened? Most people struggle to answer that question, and that gap, that space between who you are on the inside and what people actually see when they look at you, that is where loneliness lives. Research consistently shows that the quality of your relationships is the single most powerful predictor of how long you live, how healthy you are, and how happy you feel day to day. Not your career, not your finances, not your fitness, your relationships. And yet the average person spends 0 hours learning how to actually build them. Here is something that might sting a little. If you have ever had a friendship that just quietly died, if you have ever felt like people tolerate you but do not truly value you, if you have ever given everything to someone and still felt invisible, the common thread in all of those situations is not that the other people were wrong. The common thread is a pattern you are running without even knowing it. Maybe you overshare too quickly and push people away before real trust is built. Maybe you play it so cool that people think you are not interested and they stop investing. Maybe you only show up when things are serious, and you have no idea how to just be light and fun and present. Maybe you need everyone to like you so badly that you become whoever the room needs you to be, and eventually there is no real you left for anyone to connect with. That last one is more common than you think. Studies suggest that over 60% of people report feeling chronically misunderstood in their closest relationships. 60%. That is not a personal failure. That is an epidemic of disconnection that nobody is talking about loudly enough, and the cost of that disconnection is staggering. People who feel isolated are 3 times more likely to experience depression. People who lack genuine social bonds report productivity losses equivalent to working a full day every single week while emotionally depleted. The psychological tax of loneliness is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of health impact. This is not a soft topic, this is life or death territory. Now imagine the other side of that. Imagine walking into a room and feeling genuinely at ease, not because everyone loves you, but because you know exactly how to connect, how to listen in a way that makes people feel like they are the only person in the world, how to be honest without being brutal, how to be warm without being desperate. Imagine having friendships where the other person texts you first, where people include you not out of obligation but because they genuinely light up when you are around, where the people closest to you actually know who you are, not a performance of who you think you should be. People who develop strong relationship skills report spending an average of 40% less time dealing with interpersonal conflict. They move up faster in their careers because leadership is fundamentally a relationship skill. They recover from setbacks faster because they have real support systems. They sleep better. They make better decisions. Their mental health is measurably stronger. And the beautiful irony is that becoming someone people deeply connect with also makes you feel more at home in your own skin. But here is where most people get stuck. They think connection is something that either happens naturally or it does not happen at all. They think some people are just naturally charismatic and warm and magnetic, and others are not. That is one of the most damaging myths in human psychology. Connection is not a gift, it is a craft. The most magnetic people you have ever met were not born that way. They learned how to make eye contact that communicates genuine interest rather than awkward staring. They learned how to ask questions that open people up instead of closing them down. They learned how to hold space for someone without rushing to fix or advise. They learned how to be vulnerable without being a burden. They learned the difference between being liked and being respected, and they stopped chasing the wrong one. That shift alone can save you years of exhausting people-pleasing that goes absolutely nowhere. Here is a moment that might feel familiar. You have a good conversation with someone. You leave feeling great. You think this one might be different. And then 3 weeks go by and the friendship just quietly evaporates. You both meant well. There was genuine warmth there. But neither of you knew how to take it from a spark to a flame. Nobody taught either of you how to bridge that gap. That is not chemistry failing. That is skill gap. Real connection requires consistency. It requires showing up in small ways before the big moments arrive. It requires knowing how to re-engage after silence without it feeling weird. It requires understanding what makes the other person feel valued specifically, because what makes you feel valued and what makes them feel valued are almost certainly different things. When you understand that, your relationships stop feeling like a lottery. They start feeling like something you build intentionally. And intentional relationships are the ones that last decades instead of months. Here is another pattern interrupt that might reframe everything. The people in your life who feel most disconnected from you are probably not doing it on purpose. They are also running their own patterns. They are also scared of being too much or not enough. They are also performing versions of themselves. And when two people are both performing for each other, there is no real relationship. There is just two masks in a room together. The moment one person drops the mask, the entire dynamic shifts. It almost always makes the other person feel safe enough to drop theirs. That person who goes first, who decides to be real before it is guaranteed to be safe, that person changes the relationship. That person can be you. Starting today, everything you have been looking for in your relationships has been waiting on the other side of a skill set you have not fully developed yet. That is not a criticism. That is the most hopeful thing in the world because skills can be learned, patterns can be changed, relationships can be rebuilt, and you do not have to figure all of this out alone. If this resonated with something deep in you, and you know it did because you are still here, the programs in the video description are there for a reason. They exist because transformation like this does not happen from a single video. It happens through structured, proven guidance that takes you from where you are now to where you actually want to be. Most people will watch this, feel something, and then go right back to the same patterns tomorrow. Do not be that person. The resources are right there, right now, and the version of you that has the relationships you deserve is closer than you think. Go claim it.